Hello everybody, it's Mel. Thank you for joining me today for the Quarter Year Crisis book tag. So this tag was created by Roshan's Reading, and I will link her channel in the description below, along with anyone else that I talk about in this video today. And basically Roshan created this tag because she thought that we have a mid-year crisis book tag, so we talk about how our reading's going in the middle of the year. We have an end of the year tag, which is supposed to be about the last few months of the year and what our plans are and how we're going so far. But we didn't have a quarter year tag, so we didn't have anything for this time of year when we were a quarter of the way through the year. So she created it, and much like we have the mid-year freak out tag, we have now the quarter year crisis tag. But basically it is a tag where we talk about how our reading's going for the year, discuss some of our favourites and that sort of thing. So that is what I'm going to do today. Not 100% sure when I'm going to be putting this video up, but roughly around the quarter of the year, maybe a little bit later. We'll see. But anyway, that's the plan for today. So let's just dive in. So the first book for this tag is, how many books have you read so far this year? And my answer is 13 this year. Some of you may know I decided to lower my reading goal for 2025 because, also as some of you may know, I had a baby at the end of last year, and they take up a lot of time and a lot of energy and effort, and I don't have as much time towards reading or towards my channel. So I decided to make my reading goal on Goodreads and kind of just in general 52 books, which is one book a week, which I thought was pretty doable, depending obviously on the book size and all of that sort of thing. But I am actually ahead. According to Goodreads, I'm 2 books ahead, which is pretty awesome. So I have read 13 books so far this year, which I'm happy with. It's a reasonably decent amount of books for this time of year, especially, like I said, given everything that we have going on at the moment. Alright, so question number 2. Have you already found a book that you think might be a 2025 favourite? If not, what was your favourite book you read that wasn't quite 5-star? So I have definitely found a few books that I have really enjoyed and a few books that I have given 5 stars. The couple that really jump out at me so far this year, the reappearance of Rachel Price, which I absolutely loved and I did give 5 stars. I thought it was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. It is a mystery book and we follow a young girl, she's 17 or 18, Belle, and when Belle was 2 years old, her mother disappeared out of the car in which Belle was found. So Belle was found in the car in the snowy winter cold of northern United States, and she was completely fine. The heater was turned up, she was left to be fine, but her mother had disappeared. No one knows what happened, and it's 18 years later. No one has ever known what happened. Belle and her family have finally decided that they are going to open up publicly, and they're doing a documentary about what happened, and suddenly her mother reappears, and it's about that. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, I thought it was really well done. Another book that I read recently, which I really enjoyed, and I gave it a 4.9, which is basically 5 stars, and that is The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst. So this is a cozy fantasy. We follow our main character, Kayla, or Keela. She lives in and works for the main library of this world, and there's a rebellion happening and the library comes under attack, and she escapes with her best friend, who is a sentient spider plant. She escapes with Kaz to her childhood home, which is an island in the far reaches of the world, of the empire, and she makes a home there and decides that she wants to open a spell shop, but she isn't necessarily allowed to by the empire, so she decides to open a jam shop that secretly sells remedies or spells, and it's just really lovely, really sweet. I really enjoyed it, had a lot of fun with it. I also really loved The Ending Fire, which is the final book in the well, I think the trilogy is called The Ending Fire, but The Final Strife, The Battle Drum, and The Ending Fire is the series, and it is by Sarah L. Arifi. I just thought it was fantastic. I really enjoyed the entire series. I thought it's fantasy. I thought it was really interesting. It was quite different from what I had seen of fantasy before, which I thoroughly enjoyed. Really well written, and yeah, just a fantastic series. I don't want to go into too much detail because The Ending Fire is the final book in the trilogy. I've talked about it at length on my channel, but I would just say that I thoroughly enjoyed the series, thoroughly enjoyed The Ending Fire. I thought it was a fantastic ending to a trilogy, and highly recommend the trilogy in general. So those books definitely are in the running to be some of my best books of the year. But another book that actually really surprised me so far this year, and I was going to put that as one of my favourite books, which it is, but it comes up, there's another question that comes up which it fits better for, so I'll leave it there just to tease you a little bit. And I will move on to the next question, which is any 1-star books / least favourite books of the year. And I tend to be a person that will DNF rather than give 1 star. If I'm not enjoying a book to the point where I think it's going to be a 1 star, I'm much more likely just to decide, nope, I don't want to finish this, I'm not enjoying it, I'm done, give up on this book. So I usually don't have a really good answer for these sorts of questions, but I will say that my least favourite book of the year so far, this is not going off looking back over ratings and making sure that this is the lowest rated, although I'd say it probably is. But just in terms of what I have thought about books, my general feeling and vibes, my least favourite book of the year was Murder in an English Village. And I cannot remember who wrote the book, but the cover is on the screen, so you can see who wrote the book. I think it was Jennifer somebody or Jessica somebody. Anyway. This was fine. This book was absolutely fine. I think I gave it 3 stars. I may have given it 2 point something, but I rounded it up to 3 stars because it was reasonably well written, it was reasonably well paced, it was reasonably well done. It was a reasonably enjoyable book. I had a decent time with it as I was reading it, but it's not particularly memorable. It is the first in a series. I don't think I'll bother continuing with the series. I mean, it's the kind of thing where if I find another book in the series that fits a prompt for a TBR or I'm in the mood for it, I will potentially read it. I had no issue with it, so I'm not going to be like, oh no, I will definitely not enjoy this, but it just was kind of, it was fine, but it wasn't particularly memorable. There are definitely better versions of this type of book. So in terms of plot, this book is, like I said, there are other versions, better versions, but it is kind of like a Miss Marple. So it is a small English village, older protagonists, and they set out to solve a mystery in the English village, essentially. But Miss Marple is better by Agatha Christie. But anyway, this book was my least favourite, but like I said, I mean, it wasn't terrible. Middle of the road, yeah, kind of book. Anyway, moving on to the next question, which says most read genre so far. It will not surprise you at all to discover my most read genre so far is fantasy. I think I counted up 6 books out of 13, so basically half my reads this year have been fantasy. Are we surprised? No, we are not. Alright, question number, I don't even know what. Next question. A book that surprised you. So this is the book that I did say was one of my, in the running for top book of the year, one of the top books of the year, but I'd save it for this question, and that is The Stationery Shop of Tehran by Marjan Kamali. This is a book that I hadn't seen basically anyone talk about on BookTube at all until very recently after I had read it, and I saw Elliot Brooks read it, and she read it for a trying romance vlog or book video. It was recommended to her by a viewer, so definitely people are reading it, obviously. But anyway, I hadn't really seen anyone talk about it, and I really enjoyed this one, and I was surprised by how much I enjoyed it. Not because I didn't expect to. I never go into books thinking I'm going to hate this book, because what would be the point in reading it? But I didn't know much about it because I hadn't heard anyone talk about it really. I only had it in my radar because I wrote a bunch of reasonably specific prompts for my TBR game, and I will link my playlist of the TBR game because I've alluded to it a few times now. Anyway, yeah, I've written a few kind of vaguely more specific prompts than I had done in the past, and I wanted to be able to have a list of potential authors or books if they came up, rather than running around trying to figure that out in the middle of filming the TBR video, that I could look up and see about. And this is one of them, and I decided to choose it because it came up, and yeah, anyway, I really enjoyed it. It is one of those sorts of books where we have multi-generational storylines. We're following the same characters, but we are following them through various different parts of their lives, and we kind of go backwards and forwards between different time periods to see what happened and how that event affected their lives and what was actually going on, and maybe it was not quite what the protagonist thought, etc. So it is set in Iran and the US, and we follow our main character, whose name I have totally forgotten, who grew up in Tehran. There is a local stationery shop that's also a bookstore that she loves, and she meets this boy there when she's a teenager. They fall in love, but then things don't quite work out, and then we're following her as she goes to the States, goes to university, meets someone else, and just how her life unfolds. And then we also go backwards to find out what actually happened, why it didn't work out, etc. I thought it was fantastically written. I thought it was beautifully written. I thought it was, yeah, really well done. Really, really enjoyed it. Would highly recommend. I cannot remember right now what I gave it. I think I gave it like a 4.5 or something like that. It wasn't quite a 5-star, but it was definitely up there. And yeah, I really, really enjoyed it, and definitely worth a read. So we have now the next question, a book that's come out so far in 2025 that you want to read but haven't yet. I have not kept up with books that have come out recently, been really slack about that at currently, so I'm not 100% sure. I don't really have an answer to this question. Okay, next question is one goal you've made this year that you are succeeding at. And the answer for this question for me is reading my physical TBR. I am not actually sure. Give me a second. So 6 of 13 that I've read so far this year are from my physical TBR, which is fantastic. So I'm definitely reading down the books on my physical TBR. And in fact, I'm pretty sure the goal I had for this year was 10%, which is 10 books, and I'm already halfway there, so I'm very happy with that one. And to sort of go along with that question, the next question is one goal you've made that you need to focus on, and I would say for that I need to focus on audiobooks. So I have a few audiobooks that I use my credits to download from Audible that I haven't listened to yet, and I don't use Audible anymore, so I don't really think about that, but they're still there. They're still something I can access. So I need to, I need to focus on that a little bit and read some of those books. And then the final question is new to you booktubers slash bookstagrammers slash booktalkers for 2025 that you could recommend. So people that I have subscribed to recently, I actually talked about some of those people in a tag I did a couple of months ago, which I will link below. But let me have a look at my subscription feed. So someone that I subscribed to quite recently, within the last week or so, was Angela Rose Reads. I came across her channel because of Paige. Paige recommended her TBR game as a really fun TBR game to watch, fun video to watch, so thank you for that page. I would also recommend Chloe Frizzle, who created the 5-star predictions book tag, which is another tag I did recently, which I will also link below. I've really enjoyed her channel. I've watched a lot, to be honest, but I've watched a few videos of hers and really enjoyed them as well, so I would highly recommend that you go and check her out also. And yeah, those are the people that I have subscribed to most recently, so yeah, go and check them out. Like I said, they're linked down below. But anyway, that is the quarter year crisis book tag, so that's the end of the video. So go and subscribe to all the people that I talked about in my video today, and let me know if you have done this tag. If you are going to do this tag, let me know that down below as well. And answer me, what is a book you think might be a 2025 favourite so far that you've read this year? If you have any other thoughts, please comment them below as well. If you'd like to leave me a comment but you don't know what, then leave me an emoji that makes you think of being in crisis, because this is the quarter year crisis book tag. And yeah, thank you so much for joining me today. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I would absolutely love it if you would subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up. And yeah, like I said, thank you so much for joining me today. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time.